Hey there! Today, on the Cozy Let's Play, we have got a tall task ahead of us. Today, it is time to build our starter house. So, as I mentioned previously, this area right here, this clearing right in the middle of this cherry grove, is the perfect place for our first house in this lovely new world. I'm super excited to get cracking on it, but we're gonna need quite a few things before we can properly get started on it. First and foremost, gonna need to do a little bit of terraforming here to kind of plug this hill up, as this cave down here is... You know what? Actually, I haven't really looked at it. Okay, you know what? It's pretty dangerous. Yep, that simply just won't do. We're gonna have to cover this place up. This is a hazard. So anyway, I was saying, we gotta plug that up. We'll cover in the hill. We'll flatten the area out just a little bit. Nice and good for our starter house and a little garden to go around it. But of course, before we can even plug it up, before we can even think about getting started on the house, we need to gather some stuff. What stuff might that be? Well, a fine question. First and foremost, we're going to need quite a bit of cherry wood, so I'll work on getting a little bit of that without interrupting the lovely scenery here. We're going to need some mud. We're going to need different wood types. I know we need some mangroves, so I'll need to go find one of those swamps. We're going to need some spruce wood. We're gonna need all sorts of things, and at the materials that we are currently sitting at, it's gonna be a little bit of a challenge, but nothing like a good fun adventure to go and gather what we need to get started on our house. So I think it's time to start this adventure. So first things first, I did want to light this place up just so we don't have a mob farm underneath the house. However, it appears as though I have been beaten to the punch. This should get interesting. This is fine. We're fine. I'm fine. Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good haul for now. Now, time for some exploring. So this is my first time over here on the western edge of where we've set up in this cherry grove, and this is a lovely little river valley that kind of slices through into the forest from that kind of wide open plains area. This is absolutely gorgeous. Take a look at this over here, this absolutely massive kind of meadow slash plateau slash just large hill feature that is connected to the river that we saw just a little bit ago that kind of cuts through over that way. That is our cherry grove right over on that plateau. We're on the one that is on the other side of the plains over here, and this is what lies beyond. This world is absolutely stunning. I'm so happy we chose this seed. Oh, it would appear as though we've found our first desert. I went traveling quite a bit eastward from where we're settled up in the cherry grove and through the large savanna and a little bit of forest here. It looks like there's a little bit of a desert. I'm currently out looking for some mangrove, but deserts are absolutely welcomed as we can make great use of everything the desert has to offer. And speaking of desert, this is quite a large desert village, actually. We've got 3 of these really tall buildings. This is really cool. Well, I've come just a little distance further and we found a jungle, which I think is a good sign. Any mangrove biomes that I've seen before are usually near or attached to a jungle biome, so fingers crossed. You know, I've gotta say, this is also a really lovely area. I love how this jungle borders the desert just for what seems like miles and miles. We've got a nice river that kind of cuts into the desert from the jungle, and the way the jungle kind of has these hills deeper inland, as you can see some of the trees, the way they rise up back there and everything. This is really cool. Still haven't found any mangrove yet. We found a village over yonder. There's quite a lush cave system underneath this desert by the looks of it. Oh, do I see what I think I see over there? Oh, let's get closer. Oh, it is. Look at that. Holy, that's pretty big. That's pretty good. We'll have to get a better look of it. Maybe we'll get up on that hill and see just how expansive this is, but this is perfect. This is just what we need. All right, I've climbed up to the top here, and this is a great view, but it looks like the mangrove is pretty average size. I wouldn't say it's necessarily large or small. Looks like it kind of goes off in that direction a good little bit, but this is more than enough for what we need right now. We can grab a bunch of wood, we can get some mud, we can get some, what do you call them, the propagules to make some of our own trees. Little closer to home, and we're set. We're good to go here, so time to get collecting. Take a look at this right here. This is a perfect example of just how cool this seed is and just some of the fun things that it does. I don't even know how to describe it. This is just a really fun little piece of world generation. This little exposed lush cave with the river kind of flowing into it at the bottom. I don't know what it is about this world, but it's perfect. Oh, I had no idea that that was there. We must have just missed that on our way to the mangrove, which is right over there. I guess I was hugging the jungle closer than I thought I was. Wow, I had no idea this was here. Okay. All right. Yeah, no, this is great. We'll take that. Yeah, this place is the real deal. That's for sure. Man, I love the eroded Badlands biome when you get all these kind of pillory boys, these little things that stick out of the ground like that. It's such a cool look. Looks like the desert kind of wraps around a little bit over there as well. Yeah, no, this is great. This is good to know that this is here. We've even got a crazy looking kind of mountain over there in the desert, or hill, I guess, doing its thing. We got a little bit of everything. This is on my way back, too. The savannah should be just right over yonder, and then our cherry grove right beyond that. Sweet. All right, one leg of the journey over, and now to see what else we need. We've gathered cherry wood, birch leaves, mangrove wood, spruce wood, oak wood, dark oak wood, sandstone, and packed mud, as well as azalea stuff. So there's a couple more things we need before we can properly get started on our starter house. First of all, we're gonna need some dirt, and a pretty good amount of it. Alright, first thing I wanted to do with all this dirt is fill this in. So something I'm going to keep in mind while I do this is I'm going to try to have 2 layers of dirt throughout all of the kind of gap here that I fill in. That way, when we go to build the house over it and the garden nearby and everything, whenever we dig into the ground, it's not instantly just going to drop us down below or open up to this big crater. We'll have a little bit more terrain to kind of work with and shape to our needs. It would appear as though we have visitors. And now, with just a little bit of time, now we're talking. Just needed a little bit of the grass to grow over all of the dirt, and we are good to go, at least in terms of the area being nice and terraformed. Now, the other thing we needed dirt for was to make a little bit of some coarse dirt action, which we will be using in and around the pathway. We're also going to need some lanterns, so let's go ahead and make some of these. 18 should do the trick. Let's throw some seeds in there. We're also going to need some potatoes, and it looks like I've only got the one, so guess it's time to put this bad boy to use. Found this in a ruined nether portal. Let's go ahead and make a little bit of a temporary potato farm. And I think we'll just go right up on this hill behind the tent and just clear out a nice little spot right under this tree right here. Alright, something like this should do. Just something small and temporary, nothing too crazy needed. Might see if I have any more bones for this, and also, if we can find some carrots eventually, we can get a little bit of a carrot yield going. Alright, let's see where 9 pieces of bone meal gets us. Well, I think we'll take that. I think that turned into about 10 potatoes. We'll go ahead and leave that for now, and we'll have that growing in the meantime. We need to get some more stuff. Next up on the list is bricks, and luckily we have all of these clay blocks left over from when we were trying to investigate that lush cave in the previous episode. So I'm going to go ahead and turn a lot of these into clay balls again, and we're going to smelt those up. Alright, and while we wait for the rest of the bricks to cook up, that should be more than enough granite. Combined with the bricks that we've got, there is but one more block that we need to go find a little bit more of. Aha! Just what I was looking for. Alright, well, we found where the moss is, and it's in quite a dangerous location here. I'm gonna see if I can find a way to get onto the other side so that we can actually pick up some of this moss here without it falling all the way down there. I did also find our very first diamond on our way down in here. So we are starting to progress a little bit. It was only one, but it's fine. You know, we'll get more. It's fine. Wait a minute. If I'm not mistaken, we might be looking at an iron vein straight across the way. We've got some iron mixed in with some tuff, and it looks real scattered. That could very well be an iron vein right below this little lush cave. That's pretty cool. And actually, I don't think we're gonna need to cross the way. I think we've got plenty right here. We don't need an overabundant amount. We just need enough to get us going on the starter area. So I think from what we get here, this should do it. All right, I'm thinking moss-wise, that should do the trick. I do, before we leave, want to go check out that iron vein, if it is one, and potentially snag up a good bit of iron to last us for a little while. Let's get cracking on this. 2 stacks of iron later, I think we are ready to head back. Okay, with the potato farm going, as those grow and we gather a little bit more, we've got everything else that we need. So I do believe we can get started, finally, on the starter house. Let's go ahead and jump into it, shall we? We're going to start with a little bit of a 4-block and 4-block long kind of in-between section right here. This is going to be where the doorway goes. It's going to be an L-shaped building, so we're going to take this wall, expand it down, that one, take it down, and then the far side is just going to connect. So 7 blocks here, 7 blocks here, and then down the backside 11 blocks long. And with the base figured out, now we're going to go on the diagonals of each of these corners, and we're going to build up 4 tall, a mix of birch planks, stripped birch logs, and sandstone. Next on the list is to add some birch stairs upside down off of each of these pillars, facing inward. Now on this inside part, I'm just going to bring these together with a little bit of randomization between sandstone and birch. On these ends over here, we're going to create a bit of an archway as this pillar ends up connecting to that pillar. So we're going to place a couple of stripped logs there. We're going to put some slabs, and we should end up with something just like that. We're going to go ahead and repeat this on the other 7-block long wall. With both of these shorter walls done, it's time to address the 11-block long backside walls. We're going to start by lowering these stairs by 1 block. Following that, we're going to create a similar arch that goes all the way across. Just like that, the archways are done, which means we can move on to the inner part of the walls. Let's go grab some cherry wood. Let's start by prepping a little bit of a slab step up into the front door. Get our front door placed right about there. All right, now we can get started on the walls. We're going to start with a baseline of just cherry wood planks all the way around, and then we're going to slowly fade it into cherry wood stripped logs up at the top, so you get kind of a little bit of a shading effect. Whereas the sun wouldn't hit the top of the walls quite as much, it'll be a little bit darker, and down towards the bottom, it'll be a little bit lighter. Let's go ahead and add in this slab that I forgot earlier. And that's a really good example of how the walls are going to look. Let's go ahead and wrap it all the way around the building. From here, we can start to frame out the rooftop. So with all 4 of our spruce wood variants, we're going to go ahead and do the very outline of the roof frame first, and then we're going to start to fill it in from there. First things first, I think we're going to have to at least get rid of this tree and then maybe just replant another one a little further back, but that is definitely going to get in the way. With that despawning, we're going to start with a spruce slab out from the diagonal of the birch pillar here. From there, we're just going to add a full block, another slab on the top half with a stair facing upward, another stair upside down, a full block, a stair, another upside down stair, another normal stair, and that is where our roof peaks. So we're going to do an upside down stair and a slab to cap it off. And then we're just going to repeat the same shape on the other side. With that done, it should look a little something like this. We're going to go ahead and repeat this on the other 7-block long wall. With both of those A-frames in place, we can now connect them by the shorter end right here over the doorway. And that's going to be done with some spruce trapdoors, just taking this funky little shape as it kind of goes down and just kind of flows its way across towards the center. In the center right there, we're going to go ahead and have a spruce slab raised up to the level of the very end piece spruce slab. And when all is said and done, we've got something that looks a little bit like that. Now let's work on the backside. Because it's an L shape, we're going to add a third A-frame, and it's going to sit right here directly across from that one. And it's going to mirror that one as well. That way, when we get the whole roof in place, it doesn't have a weird slanting look to it. So just as before, slab out of the corner, full block, top slab, stair, stair, block, stair, 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 upside down stairs, slab. And there we've mimicked what we've done on the other side. Let's go ahead and bring it down and we can work on the connections. Okay, on the shorter end over here, it's just going to be the trapdoor trick once more. With the back wall being much longer, we went ahead and staggered it with a couple of spruce planks in between the fancy trapdoor technique. And with that, the frame is done. The blocks we're going to be using to fill in the roof are going to be a mix of mangrove logs and dark oak logs. When we place them a certain way, we have the texture of the mangrove log going more horizontal, and the texture of the dark oak log going a little more horizontal as well. We're not going to strip these logs, they're going to stay as they are, but we're just going to kind of mix these throughout, and it creates a really nice look. I should also mention that the mangrove logs are mostly going to be the actual wood block, where they don't have any of the red coloration sticking out, and it's all just the bark texture. And there is our lovely little roof situation. I absolutely love the look of using these two different logs together. Now, with all of that filled in, we're able to take all of our birch wood, fill in the A-frames, and then really start to work on some of the details. Okay, we're going to start over here with just a simple mix of logs and planks. All of the logs will, of course, be stripped. And we're going to make sure to leave a 1x1 window right in the middle, just like that. Let's go ahead and repeat this on the other side, and one more to go. And there we go. This one is a little bit different because of where the A-frame lines up, along with the fact that the archway here is a little bit lower than on the shorter sides. So we get a 2x1 window back here on this side, and that will tie in perfectly with the additional details that we end up adding a little later on. For now, let's go ahead and get all of our window details set. All right, for the windows, all we're gonna do is place a couple of campfires up top, put those out, and then get some oak trapdoors and have them hang off of the sides, just like that. Once we've got those around the outside, place a couple of spruce fences on the inside of the window as opposed to some glass, and we have a nice cozy looking window. Up top, we're just gonna throw one single spruce fence in that little gap, and that will be a nice little touch up there as well. Go ahead and repeat this over here as well. Now this side's looking great. The 2x1 window gets the simple spruce fence treatment. And now with our window situation figured out, it's time for some of the additional details. This place needs a chimney, and it needs a dormer around the other side. We're gonna start out with a very simple shape right in the center of the roof, just like that. We're gonna go with another 2x1 window, and I think it's time to blend the roof together. I think that is a perfect way to blend it in with the rest of the roof right there. So now that we've got a nice little dormer taking up this space right here, let's throw a chimney in on the other side. All right, we're gonna start right here with one of the edges of the chimney. And we're gonna start to bring it up here in a little bit of a plus-like pattern. And once we have our shape in place, we're gonna cap it off with some stairs. Let's go ahead and get some mangrove trapdoors. We're gonna go ahead and throw these all the way around. And with those around like so, we're gonna place a campfire in the middle. With the trapdoors done and in place, we're gonna place a brick wall and then a mangrove pressure plate on top. And we have a very lovely chimney to accent the building. With the chimney in place now, we're gonna add some really subtle details using some of this muddy mangrove root. What this does is it adds a nice darker color that still kind of blends in with the rest of the roof. And what that does is add the smallest little detail but makes a world of a difference. Shading is something that I've not really experimented with before, but something that I'm trying to learn bit by bit. Up next, we're going to go ahead and take some campfires and spruce trapdoors, and we're going to create a little bit of an overhang under our 2x1 windowed A-frame. Once the overhang is in place, we're going to go ahead and add some fences. And these are going to tie into some mud brick walls that kind of blend in and give it this nice little support at the base. Throw in a lantern right there. And I think our little overhang is done. We're going to bring a lot more detail into the area in just a second. So before we can add any more of the details underneath the overhang on the other side, I went ahead and did a little bit of terraforming over here because we need to start on our pathway. So what we're going to do, beginning at the front of the house here, is we're going to make a little pathway going up to it, and then a little pathway that splits off in both directions. This should be a great basis to get started with. From here, we're going to start to blend into what I plan to do under the overhang, right around the right side of the building. Over around back, we're going to begin to blend the dirt pathway into more of a stone-based pathway as it reaches underneath of the overhang, and we can start to get a lot of our equipment out here. With all of our stone placed, let's go ahead and get some moss mixed in. With the moss laid down, I think it is looking really nice back here. So let's go ahead and bring some stuff over. Furnaces, anvil, things like that. And we're going to create a little bit of a workstation back here. Okay, so let's start off with a couple of barrels back here, just for some added decor and storage for some things we might want to throw out here. A couple barrels, some chests, a composter. Then around the back, we're going to go ahead and add a bunch of different things. We're going to throw a cauldron down. Let's go ahead and get some furnaces and a blast furnace mixed in here as well. I made an anvil and a grindstone. Just all of the things that we might need at any given point in time. Over here, I think we're going to do a little bit of a fancy stone cutter setup. So let's go ahead and add 2 slabs, and we'll make sure... Oh, and we will make sure that it's facing the right way, in that you might place something on one side, slide it through to cut it up, and then have a spot to receive it. I always thought this was a nice little detail for the stone cutter. And then kind of away from the house, we're going to set up a couple of barrels. We're going to put a chest up here, and then maybe even a chest kind of tucked away to the side. And of course, can't forget that every good workshop needs a crafting bench. So I think we'll throw our crafting bench right over here on that moss block, and we have a lovely little work area around the back of our house. And with some final touches, we went ahead and added a lantern for a little bit more lighting, and we added a bucket and an item frame on the wall to kind of symbolize some tools that might be hanging on the wall, as it is a workplace-esque area, and I think it really adds to the aesthetic. So, with this part of the build done, we can wrap our way back around towards front and add some of the details along the pathway with some fences, some leaves, and then mixing in some more blocks within the walkable area as well. First thing I want to do is sprinkle in some coarse dirt. So we're going to find some various splotches along the path, whether it be in the middle or on the sides, and we're going to mix in some coarse dirt all along the way to really sprinkle in some more detail, some more texture, some more intrigue along the way. Alongside the coarse dirt, let's go ahead and mix in some packed mud as well. Oh, well, there goes the first death, I suppose. Oof, at least we were close to home. All right, let's go ahead and pick everything up. I'm also glad that it only blew up a tree and it didn't blow up anything important over here. Oh, man, I was not ready for that. Nothing a little bit of landscaping can't fix. As for the tree, I think the tree's gonna have to go for now. Well, with the tree taken care of and out of the way, we can get back to what we were working on. I just finished placing the packed mud, and I think it looks fantastic, mixed with the path block and the coarse dirt as well. There's a couple more details we need around here, though, namely some leaves and some fences. So the goal with the fences and the leaves is just to have something that loosely follows the pathway here, and it can overlap just a little bit, but we just need a little something that kind of sections off this house or this property from the rest of the forest. Something simple like that should do the trick. Now we'll mix in some leaves. With the leaves in place alongside the fences, things are really starting to tie together and look incredible. I absolutely love the look of this place so far. However, we do need a little bit of a garden out back, so let's go ahead and get that going. Land tilled. Coarse dirt added. Continuation of the fences and leaves all the way around, and this place is coming together very quickly. Let's go ahead and get some crops to plant back here in our garden, and then we can move to the next phase. I still don't have any carrots, so for now it's just going to be a mix of wheat and potatoes, and there's not going to be any particular method to this. It's just going to be kind of random and splotchy throughout to create a nice little variety and interesting mix of different things in the garden. All right, everything's planted, but we still need a couple more details. Let's start with a little bit of storage down here, and I think we could also do with a little bit of a shelf. So let's go ahead and put something over here. You know what? Why don't we even go ahead and stagger it just a little bit? I won't put something on every block, but that way it kind of looks like the shelf has been weighed down over time, and it just adds a nice little touch. Make sure we get some lighting in here as well. And I think our little garden area is looking lovely. I'm also going ahead and adding some light to the perimeter of the area, sitting on top of some of these fences every so often. My goal isn't to be 100% spawn proof with this region, just enough that it's lit up and looks nice at night. I went ahead and added some storage by the front door. And we also have these brand new hanging signs in the 1.20 update. So I would love to have a little hanging sign right there, but I'm not sure what we should call this place. So if you guys have any suggestions as to what you think this house or this area should be called, by all means, let me know down below and I will read through those and add something that I like to the sign. In the meantime, I think it's probably time to go a little bit crazy with some leaves, some vines, and just really detail the place out with some more foliage. Oh, and look at this. It appears as though we have our very first wandering trader. Hello. What do you have? Yeah. Whole lot of the usual. Nothing. You know, under any other circumstances, I would be making good use of this sword here, but that wouldn't be very cottagecore of me, I suppose. Alright, I'd say I'm pretty happy with the outcome of everything. That should about do it around the exterior. I went ahead and left out the vines for now, as I do not have any string, and if I place a single vine, the entire house is going to be covered in them next thing I know. So we're going to hold off on the vines for now until we get some string. Other than that, maybe find a flower forest to get some more flowers to pretty the place up, but I think we're at a point where I'm very happy for this episode, having the exterior built and detailed. The interior is something that we will absolutely get done in the next episode, as I cannot wait to move on into this house and get all of our storage sorted and expanded, especially so that we can start collecting some more resources and really get going on some of the next builds that I want to get done in this lovely little world of ours. All that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the adventure in today's episode, and I look forward to making some more progress on the next one. Special thanks to everyone who supports the channel through Patreon, and until next time, I will see you guys around.